My name is Ricky. That's me right there getting attacked by squirrels. I was born in Northern California and have been a native ever since. I moved to Sacramento in 2008 from the Bay Area, and I've been making professional films and commercials for over half my life. Every project I've ever worked on has had one thing as the foundation: story. Without a story, no matter how pretty your pictures are, there's really nothing to watch. Documentaries are the most interesting story to tell because the story develops on its own as you go. You can't sit down and write a documentary. No matter how many people you line up to support or argue your topic, the story always ends up, for lack of a better term, writing itself. You can attempt to edit your footage in a way to get your point across, but the overall story is just something you can't control. When I was approached by region builders to make this documentary about the Permit Simplicity program, I had no idea what it was or what the story behind it was. I was told that Phoenix had a program in place that Sacramento was considering, and to fly down there and find out what are the leaders in Phoenix's real thoughts on the program's success or lack thereof. The story that naturally unfolded was a story of hope for the future, recovery for the economy of Phoenix and now surrounding areas, improved quality of work for the design and building industry, and most of all, more jobs and economic prosperity for Phoenix. So the question asked is, could this program help Sacramento rise like a phoenix out of the ashes of the Great Recession? When you're competing in the global economy, thinking out of the box is important. Phoenix's design community and council leaders decided to convene a large committee to lay out a plan for improving the speed of their development process. This quickly turned into the vision of a one-day permit.
At the time, we had the idea of this permit program, and we actually polled our members to see if they'd be interested in AIA helping the city put together a process. So we polled the entire membership, and we got a pretty strong response. Over 120 people replied to our poll, and about 90 to 95% were in favor of simplifying the process of getting building permits with the city of Phoenix. So we decided that it was a worthy effort to move forward on. We engaged the city of Phoenix about the idea, and just coincidentally, two of their councilmen actually were exploring the idea of simplifying all business processes with the city of Phoenix, including the building permit process. So they were receptive to the idea and were willing to accept AIA Phoenix Metro help on the issue.
It took us about a 4-month process. The original committee was about 125 people, but literally the main focus was about competing in this global economy, making sure we were ready to have the right tools in place in the city of Phoenix that were able to propel us and be able to compete. And if you look all around the country, it's all about jobs. We looked at plan review. We said, okay, what do we need to do to get this thing done faster? What we did is we were looking at plans. We kept telling people it would take 60 days to get through. Well, when in fact 60 days was really 4 months or 5 months. Maybe in Sacramento it takes longer. I don't know. You know, we all heard the horror stories, right? We mandated by law, by city council dictate, which doesn't happen. They always say, staff says, well, we're just going to do this internally. No, we wanted to have a council action that demanded 24-hour turnaround on inspections.
Creating a one-day permit would take dramatic change. Even in Phoenix, a lot of red tape would have to be reduced to achieve this ambitious goal.
On a major project, say a large mixed-use multifamily residential with retail on the bottom and maybe a parking podium, you were looking at anywhere between 6 and 8 months at least of plan review. So your first review is 30 to 45 days. The architect goes back and makes all the changes, they resubmit. Second review is another 30 days, maybe 45 days, and they make changes depending on how many reviews we go. So you're saving up to 8 months, and you're getting your permit in 1 day.
It really enables developers or owners to get in business quicker. You know, they shave off the entire plan review period of their development process, and so they can open up their business 2, 3, 4 months in advance, get people to work that much faster.
It's also very helpful for our economic development department in the city of Phoenix to be able to sell this Permit Simplicity program to potential customers like a Google or an Apple or something like that, saying, look, if you find a site and you come in, you can get your permit in one day. There is no more guessing game about how long it's going to take to get through the city's permitting process and plan review process and how many times you can go back and forth with corrections. You can get it in one day with this program.
The process itself is still very relevant because a lot of the projects that have occurred in the last couple of years have been smaller projects. And this is a tool that small practitioners, small firms can to take advantage of to offer as a value-added service to their clients to get their projects through the city, get their permits, get it built, and get to market with whatever business they're doing.
I think it's enabled people to get their permits a lot faster. They have certainty on when they're going to get their permit. They bypass the timely plan review portion of the whole development process. So they can basically, as soon as their drawings are finished, they can start construction. Gets projects finished quicker, it gets people to work faster.
You've never been out of college. You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
The program was adopted in May of 2011, just 2 years after the bottom of the Great Recession. Phoenix needed to make sure the program drove their train to recovery to rebound their economy. This meant understanding how the private sector works.
Coming out of this, there was a need for a retooled model ultimately to support new business growth. And so as now we're back on that train towards recovery, we had to find ways ultimately to infuse the private sector in this kind of philosophy of thinking, but added those public safeguards that allowed for safety and ensuring efficacy of all buildings that were being built towards state code and international building code, but ultimately infuse the pro-business mindset that we have here in Phoenix of how to streamline processes.
When folks are ready to build right now in this economy, they get financing, and a lot of times their financing is tied to deadlines, and they want to build right when they want to build, right when they have money, and I want to build tomorrow, and I want to start, and I want to open up on a certain date. This program allows them to pick the date that they want their permit on.
Keeping safety in mind, the city set a requirement that an architect or engineer would have to meet certain standards to ensure quality work. Once you were allowed in the program, you had to maintain your standing in the program.
Commercial work, you must have an architect's seal, so no one off the street can do it. You have to be an architect. In order to participate in the program, you need to have certain errors and omissions insurance coverage. You have to have been registered for a certain period of time, and you have to be a registered architect. So once you meet those minimum requirements, then anybody can go through a training class, which you have to retrain whenever there is an update in the codes. The codes are usually updated every 4 years. Or if there's something significant that's changed or amended, then you would have to recertify or go through this process once again.
The process itself is still very relevant because a lot of the projects that have occurred in the last couple of years have been smaller projects. And this is a tool that small practitioners, small firms can to take advantage of to offer as a value-added service to their clients to get their projects through the city, get their permits, get it built, and get to market with whatever business they're going for.
I think it's enabled people to get their permits a lot faster. They have certainty on when they're going to get their permit. Gets projects finished quicker. It gets people to work faster.
The program quickly gained notoriety. As the number of registered professionals participating in the program grew, so did the size of the projects.
Well, we started with about 30 people. Now that has grown exponentially. We're over 200, and we're getting more and more projects in.
Every year, the number of people that use it increases, so it's been quite a bit of an influx. The number of people using the program that are certified has increased every year, and really even the size of projects. It started out with some very small projects, and as people kind of have had success with that, we've seen them do larger and larger projects.
Because of this success, the city actually expanded the program, allowed for larger designs, larger development to take part of the process as well. So not only did you get more and more local design professionals signing up for the process, the types of projects that were allowed to pass through the new process, the new permit process, was expanded, and I think that made things better for local design community, their clients, as well as the city of Phoenix.
One question I wondered when I heard about the program was how safe was it? Would the program result in post-apocalyptic buildings straight from our favorite movies? With the advent of an audit system, no one wanted to be liable for fixing errors at inspection. Thus, the industry stepped up its performance.
Well, I do think we are getting much better quality plans. The architects that go through it spend a lot more time on quality control because they know we're not going to do that quality control. It enables a better set of plans, and so by that the contractor has a much better set of plans to work from, and maybe you get a little bit better building time.
They're making better plans, they're better coordinated, they're better overall done because they're taking the risk themselves. So they're making sure that these are very, very good plans coming into us. Much better than what we were seeing before when they just let us do their quality control.
So we had a number of obstacles to overcome in implementing the program. First of all, we had to convince staff that it was a good idea. Our staff, a big chunk of our staff reviews plans every day. They've seen a lot of plans that have a lot of mistakes in them. And so they weren't necessarily confident that architects would be able to step up their quality and submit a good set of plans that was code compliant. I think also there was a bit of a culture change in our design community because our designers are used to turning in a maybe 80% complete set of plans and waiting a month or two while it's in review. They continue to work on the plans. And that happens 2 or 3 times, and finally by the time they get their permit they've had another 3-4 months to work on the plans. There was a bit of a culture change in don't give us the plans until they're 100% ready because we're going to give you a permit the next day.
The quality and completeness of projects going into the city via this process are better than they were prior to it, just because of the fact that there is the possibility for projects to be audited, to be reviewed, and the design professionals want to make sure that they're providing their clients with ironclad, well-designed projects.
So I think that we're making better design professionals with this program because they have to go through our class. They have to take responsibility for even disciplines that are not there. So say an architect is going to be the Permit Simplicity certification person and take on our responsibility and stamp the plans for code enforcement. They also have to review the plans for structural, engineering, and electrical plans.
And the City of Phoenix has done a really good job of making sure that the program works well. And I think the architects that have been involved too understand that this is really important for us to have this as a tool for our clients and for our businesses. So we don't want to have issues with it either. So everybody's really trying to operate on a higher level to make sure that the program is successful.
They're trained at the City of Phoenix, they go through and we audit them. So we have a real secure auditing process to make sure it's being done.
So it's forcing us to be better in what we do to make sure that mechanical, plumbing, architectural, electrical are all coordinated properly and that we're doing better documents.
I think that we're trusting that they're as safe and maybe safer or better designed than they used to be. This program allows us to train architects and engineers who want to be part of this program. We train them for 2 days, 2 full days in code enforcement and educate them on the code and code requirement.
And so what this does, it really encourages those the private sector, to get everything in line, everything in order before that first submittal, and that's what will essentially affirm their ability to obtain that permit over the counter or within 24 hours. And so it really helps kind of satisfy the demand of the public sector in terms of safety and assurances, but also encourages the private sector to meet those safety standards to really allow the appropriate throughput in terms of meeting the occupancy need.
We're getting your permit in 1 day. It's at risk because we're going to audit behind you and make sure that those plans are code compliant. And if they're not, and we find that, say within 30 days, we're going to make you go back and change or tear it out if you feel something that's, not code compliant.
It was becoming clear to me that this program was the catalyst for the economic boom that made Phoenix the 3rd fastest growing city in the U.S. over the last few years, according to Forbes magazine. As a person who's lived in Sacramento for the last 6 years and hears the rumblings about needing more jobs and more work for those who already have jobs, I couldn't help but imagine what Sacramento would look like with this program.
Well, certainly, so markets are about momentum, and the public officials in this market have continued to embrace really a pro-business attitude, and this is just another pinnacle step towards that. What it's allowed ultimately our companies to come into this market, receive the most competitive operating environment in terms of tax structure, and now you have the development services side, operating in tandem, with the company's own, architects and engineers, and that allows that permit process to be streamlined, eliminates or even mitigates risks, and so it's really permeating amongst a lot of our clients that are evaluating national location decisions, and from a brand perspective, it certainly sufficiently crystallizes our position as being very pro-business.
This has gotten by far the most positive press. And in addition, it's gotten by far the most interest from other cities. We get contacted by other cities, other municipalities all the time asking us questions about how it's working and how they could implement a similar program.
People in the state that are charged with bringing in the jobs from the big people like the Apple and the Intel and things like that, they go out and try to sell our community. They're using this program to sell the city of Phoenix, and it is very exciting to people coming in from out of state.
So this has served as a really supreme differentiator. So when companies are evaluating markets, they have global options, and generally what will happen is they will analyze which respective markets that they'd like to evaluate investing in, and the speed to market is a critical element because it's all about resources and dollars and cents on the back end of this. And so any movement towards certainty eliminates and mitigates any risk that a company may have to operate. And so having this kind of pro-business streamline effort, it really puts us in a whole different position when a company can sit in another market, for example, and wait 6 months for a permit. We're providing this kind of conduit that allows us to happen in days, not months.
We're very well recognized now. This is seen as a game changer in a lot of cities. A lot of city leaders are taking a great interest in this. We've had calls and interviews and all kinds of things from other cities. Very excited about this. Looking at it, we've been up for 4 years, and for the first couple of years I had a number of cities call me and say, we're going to watch you for a couple of years and see if it's successful before we think about implementing it. It's been in, we've had it up for 4 years. It's been very successful. It continues to be successful. I think it's a program that's ready to be copied nationally.
Several cities in the greater Phoenix region have begun adopting this program at the prompting of Phoenix. Despite the fact that many in Phoenix see this program as the supreme differentiator between them and other cities, they are encouraging others to follow in their steps.
And so you are seeing an increase in projects that go because they are simpler to do and faster to get through the city and cheaper ultimately for the clients. But I think they were sort of taking a wait and see attitude and see how successful is this process, what are the quality of the projects going in and getting built, and now that they're seeing that they are high quality, well-built projects that are being produced faster and cheaper, it makes it all the sense in the world for more municipalities to try to go through this process.
Giving certainty to clients, and really even giving certainty to their firms is a good thing for the market. And so in Phoenix, much like Sacramento, you have a lot of organic growth that occurs, and so most jobs are created from your local market. This gives just another level of connectivity to the public sector that allows that to happen without creating any further obstacles.
We're already seeing several local municipalities around the valley taking the leads. Some have essentially just co-opted the Phoenix program and said if you've gone through their process, you are allowed to do that in our city.
And now our other cities are looking at adopting policies similarly to that, and also developing reciprocity agreements so that ultimately the entire region will become a 24-hour permit process.
But all cities are welcome to copy our program. It's all online. All our training materials are online. All our policies, all our procedures, all of our forms, and all of our rules and regulations. Everything is online, so it'd be very simple for another city to pick that up and copy that and make revisions that are applicable to their jurisdiction, and go ahead and start their own program. And I think for most cities it would work. I can't see why. They implement the auditing procedures that we have. It's still a safe program. It ensures building safety, and I think other cities would benefit from it.
As I stated in the beginning, I'm a filmmaker. I'm not a politician or a lobbyist, and frankly, I don't really even like politics. I'm not an architect or engineer. I'm not a general contractor. I'm just a man with a wife and 3 daughters that lives in Sacramento and wants the best possible future for my family. Right now, times are tough. They're getting better, but we still have a long way to go. As we attempt to crawl out of the devastating effects of the Great Recession, what Sacramento region doesn't need right now is more promises. Sacramento doesn't need more legal battles over new building projects. Sacramento doesn't need more people laid off from their jobs. What my friends, loved ones, and neighbors in Sacramento need right now is jobs. And Permit Simplicity can help do that. After talking to the leaders of Phoenix, I'm a believer. And anyone who wants a real economic recovery should be too. One of the interviewers called the Permit Simplicity program the supreme differentiator. That's only true for us if we enact the program. So, if Sacramento does indeed want to rise like a phoenix from the ashes, we've got to do something. I was told last year region builders helped local governments reform the building codes, lower fees, repeal the big box ordinance, jettisoned the council call-up procedure, and they spearheaded the heroic fight, my words, not theirs, against Seattle to save our arena. The question now is, will the Sacramento building industry rest on its laurels, or are they willing to fight for the rest of us?